Greetings all, Reggie Middleton. This is the most recent Q&A through the YouTube live session. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, so I apologize for being missing in action at MIA. The reason is we've been working very hard. We're looking to staff up, so let's start this with an invitation. We're looking for those with private equity and investment banking backgrounds who are looking to try something new. We're creating peer-to-peer distributed digital capital markets, and so if you are well versed in doing things such as raising capital or financial engineering and looking to try something new, something different, something very disruptive, contact me, Reggie at Veritaseum.com. Okay, this is going to be a pure Q&A. So I want to answer as many questions as possible. So you type your questions in, critical questions of course, in the comments, and I'll respond to as many as I can. Let's start with getting some people in here. Okay, I see there's 69 people online. I would like for everybody to push that like button right now, and then push that share button right now, and let's get as many people in as possible. Okay, so first question, Jamaica update. Yes, Jamaica has taken a lot longer than I thought it would. No surprise, it's taken a lot longer than I would have liked it to. Remember, you have to deal with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, that's a corporate entity. You have to deal with the FSC, which is their regulators, their version of the SEC, and the central bank, which is a central bank, not to mention simply business negotiations. The status is I've just sent what hopefully is a final contract to the exchange. Hopefully all changes have been agreed to, and they sign it and we move forward. Okay, that's actually a lot of information to give. Any more than that would probably be imprudent business, but the manager says they're definitely on board. They're still on board. We're still on board. Sent the contract, and we should be moving forward. Remember, no deal is done until it's done. Okay, so until the ink is signed and any checks are clear, it's not done. Okay, the Jamaica Stock Exchange is one of the many pans that we have in the fire, but the stock exchange is actually very, very interesting. Okay, let's start going through some additional questions. Pardon me as I scroll through. Top 10 exchange status, still working on that. This is a very, very large exchange that's not going to move overnight, that I can tell you. Okay. Reggie, last couple of tweets have been me demand in futures, demand straining, and in some cases just breaking exchanges at the current levels. Are you looking to address this with a JSC deal? I am looking to address that with our peer-to-peer capital markets technology. So that will be addressed with the VeADIR, not so much with the JSC implementation. But the VeADIR creates digital assets that can be fed into the JSC, or the JSC joint venture, JSC JV. So they are interrelated. Any idea what the estimated exposure rate Veri will have in production? It's set at 1 to 100 now. We'll let the market give us feedback on that. So the 1 to 100 was simply a nominal guess. I am not the type that's going to dictate what the market demands. I would like the market to dictate its demands to us and react accordingly. Any idea, any word on doing business with Puerto Rico? I would like to. I actually had a contact who approached me from Puerto Rico. I think it was my turn to follow up. I've been busy. We need to staff up. So we are constrained until we do so. I'm actually looking for admin staff, administrative assistant as well, and many other things. We have brought one additional developer on, actually 2 additional developers, and an entire team as well. So we've effectively doubled our software engineering development staff. I like to run a lean ship, but we've been doing a very, very good job. On that note, we just went through a demo of the VeADIR. We're contemplating a public beta of the VeADIR within approximately 2 weeks. That runs into the Christmas holidays and New Year's holidays, so it's probably going to be pushed over into January. The public beta would be a public beta of the entire beta. That is this autonomous smart contract that builds its own exposure to digital assets that it deems to be worth having. And it can share that exposure with those who purchase the research, with the VeADIR being an implementation of dynamic research. Very, very cool stuff. We have rafts and rafts of research, significant research based around the VeADIR. For instance, Mark Shurinsky says, working on anything with China. What we're doing with the VeADIR is we're going alongside Chinese investment, particularly credit lines, debt investment, etc. And we're showing how the VeADIR can offer a better deal to sovereigns and companies than many of these Chinese investments, because the Chinese investments often come with gotchas in the covenants, such as employment requirements where you have to hire Chinese employees, a variety of things. Very interesting, very politically poignant. It's a hot topic politically, so we have to tread carefully. But basically, developing nations who are getting significant capital from China can look to the VeADIR to get private capital on a peer-to-peer basis at dramatically better terms, and these terms, dramatically better terms, are mathematically proven. That report will go out, but I don't know if we're going to put that report out publicly because of how touchy it is in terms of geopolitical climate and issues, but it will go out to particular clients. So if you are a sovereign nation or sovereign entity and you're looking for a very good deal on financing on a peer-to-peer basis, one-to-one, you can use our software suite to give you a deal, and you're more than welcome to compare it to any deal that you've gotten from China. Okay? This is not a knock on China, because any Chinese entities, looking for the exact same thing, okay, come to us and we can run you through the same scenario analysis and the VeADIR implementation. Okay, the good thing about software is it doesn't play politics. So, can Very help me talk to the bank for the mortgage on my house, talking with the VP of Big Bank, receptive conversations. Very's implementation right now is institutional and not retail. We'd like to get to retail, but one step at a time. Cincinnati Jack, how do you respond to accusations that Veritaseum is vaporware? Why would I respond to such accusations? Come on. I tweet out public links of beta software that you can simply access by clicking the link. So if someone feels that somehow we have vaporware, when in the same tweet you can find a link to active software that is very, very well done, by the way. Our interface is excellent. The implementations is excellent. The implementations are excellent. I'm sorry. The applications itself are actually serverless, fully distributed on a running serverless, fully decentralized, not past decentralized into distribution. So anybody who accuses us of pushing vaporware should have their credibility destroyed forthwith. Okay, so I wouldn't not respond to any of that nonsense in public. Let me scroll through. Hi Reggie, what did you mean by your Twitter post? Wait until you guys see Veritaseum releases over the next few weeks or so. I meant when you see this stuff, and if you're into this nerdy stuff, as in the future of finance, the future of investment, the future of value sharing, the future of the democratization of access, and the future of true meritorious compensation, you'd be amazed. I'm very, very proud of my guys. The technical team, the engineering and development team, hats off to you. I'm proud of you, Team Veritaseum. The analytical team and the financial engineering team, hats off to you guys, okay? We're re-releasing an updated version of the Populous Financial Analysis and Valuation Forensic Report, and it will have a model that I contributed to personally, and that model will include economic network effect as well as utility value and the forensic valuation. Okay, because I put my time into it and the analyst put additional time, you simply can't give it away. But if you've already purchased a populist report, throw in another half vary, and we'll get that updated report to you if it's worth it to you. So, and if the reports would be 1.5 vary for the new report from this point going forward. Okay, it should be finished within an hour or two, a couple of hours, and it'll be available. Simply email Messiah, MASIAH, at Veritaseum.com, and I'm curious on the feedback. CC me as well, Reggie at Veritaseum.com. We have a backlog of research, a significant backlog that's already done, sitting on our computers, and I'm simply waiting to get it out. The final Q&A. So we'll be doing a minimum of 2 per week. I'm going to get the new populace out today. We've done qualitative analysis of the top 40 or so ICOs. The reason we did that, because of, again, lots of nonsense and FUD calling XYZ a scam and just absolute nonsense. But it did make me think, let's go through a decent amount of the ICOs and see how much progress they've made since the ICO in terms of product development, technical development, partnerships, etc. No, we don't look at websites to see how pretty the websites are. We, again, looked at many qualitative and quantitative things, such as IP protection, patent filing, etc. So it's roughly about 40. Interesting. I will try and put that out today. If not, it'll be out this weekend or next week. Okay, that's in addition to the populace. We've actually ran a similar valuation on Veritaseum itself that we did with populace using the economic network effect. That one's not going out in public. We just wanted to see what the token value will come out to. We have a very, very ambitious project. Think of the ambition of Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, and you can see the ambition level of Veritaseum itself. Now let's get back. I'm doing too much talking, not enough question answering. So let's get back and answer these questions here. Can you describe the collateral process in the VE rental? The VE rental has 2 different rental facilities. One is economic rent. The other one is the contract rent. I'm loath to use the term because I don't want this to be thought of as something that it's not. But think of the contract rent as borrowing. Okay, borrowing something, tokens, assets. Okay, you put collateral up to secure the return of those collateral assets. If those collateral, you put the collateral up to secure the return of those assets that you lent out. If those assets are not lent out, then that collateral is then confiscated via smart contract. If they are returned, but the collateral level, the level of the assets that you borrowed have dropped significantly, and you don't add more collateral in, then everything comes back. Okay, it works like that, like a regular loan, basically. And on the economic rent side, you can actually walk through the app itself, because that one is in public beta. The contract rent is not in public beta as of yet. We're still working on it, but it should be debutable January, late January, next month, basically. What are your thoughts on this pump that's happening in cryptocurrencies? Well, if you take a look at my office here, we're in Times Square. My son and daughter and I were walking across the street Tuesday night. Apparently there was a big, a lot of big industry events. So a big industry event here, which I didn't attend, and there were a lot of parties. And we were walking across the street on Broadway and 42nd, 41st, and a group of guys say, "Wow, Bitcoin hit $10,000." And there was a crowd of people who didn't come from the event, right, cheering on. Everybody's now into Bitcoin. It does have a bubblicious tinge to it, okay? The media has picked up on this, all media, pop media, business media, subject media, Bitcoin, 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 and to a lesser extent Ethereum, but almost mostly Bitcoin, okay? When the population finds out about something, they see a significant price in, They follow the smart money who's probably been in and out already, and you get that push from the populace. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin is a bubble. I'm not saying that Bitcoin has reached its zenith yet. I'm simply saying when you get new money in, and that new money is new and less educated, it's going to put pressure on in terms of demand. This should be accentuated significantly more by the trading of the futures from the CME on the 11th. Okay? Now, remember, with the good comes the bad, or with left comes right. If futures start trading, margin would be available. You can go short Bitcoin as well. Okay? So you could bet on downward movement as well as upward movement. So remember, be careful what you get for, what you come in, what you ask for. On that note, the contract rent facility of the VeADIR allows you to do the same thing, right? You can borrow assets and you can get exposure on both short side and long side of assets through the VeADIR on a peer-to-peer basis without anywhere near the risk, the contagion risk that's available in concentrated exchange scenarios such as the CME. Further to that note, we modeled this out. We modeled the futures out. We took the future terms, we created a model, modeled out Bitcoin from the conception of Bitcoin, 2009, all the way up to, I think, last week. Many surprises. In that model, you'll see some serious shortcomings. I will make that model public. That model will be public probably tomorrow or next week. Okay? What we're doing is we're adding in the short and the margin facility for it. Without margin facility, there's significant shortcomings. Okay? It appears as if the guys who put the stuff together probably didn't model Bitcoin all the way from its inception. That level of volatility they had should be exacerbated as more traders get in. Remember, traders are chasing momentum. They're chasing price movement, not value, not any stability, pure price movement. Bitcoin should become more volatile, and its price movement should be greater, higher risk and higher potential reward. This model will be interesting. Everything we do, by the way, from this point on, is available only in Veri. We'll price it. Wouldn't be a full Veri, it'd be cheaper than that probably. Okay, let's go on and answer more questions. Don't worry about the forces against the project. You were purposed to be the first to hit the giant. You'll be a hero in the end. EPF, you are here for this trial. Thank you. Just to put it in perspective, the vast majority of people who opine on or follow Veri or in favor of Veritaseum, you have a very small minority that makes a large, outsized proportion of the noise. Okay? If you take a look at all the nonsense, the FUD, it comes from either a bunch of anonymous people who won't reveal their identity, or people who really do not understand the model. If you look at their complaints, it shows significant ignorance in the Veritaseum business model. They think of us as software developers. It's not what we are. Okay? Yes, we sell software, but we do much more. We have 180 people online. One more time, everybody, all 181 of you, hit the like button right now, because if there's 182 people online and 72 likes, there's an issue. So everybody hit the like button, and then everybody hit the share button. Let's get more people on. I'm going to talk for a long time this time. I'm going to try and get through each and every question. I also want everybody to realize I believe in transparency and openness. You don't see a lot of you don't see a lot of utility token company CEOs get on YouTube Live and simply offer to answer any and all questions, critical questions. And I want to do this more often, time permitting, but I'm doing it now. I'll be charged 3 times to make that transaction. I'm not following that. Let me start in the beginning. Looks like I missed a lot. Does Veri have any relations with Populous that you can disclose? None at all. Don't know anybody at Populous, no relations. I've been meaning to call the CEO and introduce myself to him, but I haven't done it yet. So there is one relation. I noticed both Populous and Veritaseum don't seem to be welcome on the centralized exchanges. Interesting. Actually, there is another correlation. Populous is one of the very few platforms, utility token offerings that has a defensible business model that really makes sense to me. It really does make sense. And there's another one headed by this very handsome brother. Forget the name of it. Truthium, something like that, right? Trying to be funny. Looking forward, yes, P2P. PayPal is interesting. We haven't covered PayPal yet. What drives the decision to do a report? Either request from the community or internal curiosity from the corporation, from us. It's very ready to rock, Reggie. Very, very well. I think January, February is going to be a killer time for us. Releasing the software, not production release, beta releases, and we're looking to do significant deals. You see, once our software is released, we will force the deals through. I'm willing to put my own capital in, and the company's capital into the deal, into the very, and do transactions. Okay, we also are creating relationships around the world, or attempting to create them. We have a lot of fascinating things going. Again, very difficult to talk about a lot of it because it is private, but by January, February, in other words, within 30 to 60 days, some of the stuff will be public, and then no more big secrets. Hopefully. Any feedback from institutional investors? Yeah, there is some, but I can't discuss it. When we discuss, let's get clear on the term investors. This is not anybody investing in us, and it's not anybody purchasing securities. We sell services and products to institutional investors to enable them to do other things. We don't sell actual investments. We sell research, and we sell analysis, and we sell enabling facilities like our financial machines, such as VeADIR. Okay, that term investor, investment, invest, etc., is easily misconstrued and is a hot topic these days. VeADIR is on an F platform. How will VeADIR deal with scaling problems? Well, I don't see scaling issues right now. We're not transaction intensive, number one. And number two, and of course, we're a startup. So first, let's get the first transaction on the second before we discuss scaling. And it looks like the scaling issue is being addressed and addressed on a material basis by the Ethereum development team. How well they do remains to be seen, but you have to give them credit. They took what looked like a very unlikely idea and they made it happen. So I consider Ethereum to be the front runners in the space. Of course, they have a lot of credible competition, with EOS being one of them. Or potential competition, not competition as of yet. VeADIR has been a top 15 price crypto since launch. FYI, still rolling. Okay, I believe that's true. I haven't checked. Already done, already did. PPT on Binance. They are welcome. Okay, that's good. If I'm not mistaken, I think Binance requires a purchase to go on, but token exchanges are not our focus now. Our focus is on the product. Okay, very, very important we get the product out and running. And our secondary focus is on delivering economic value. Okay, I will soon see how a strong focus on actual centralized exchanges may be rearward looking through the rearview mirror. Okay, but we will discuss that at a later date after we get our products up and running. What has surprised you the most with VeADIR since the ICO? What has surprised me the most with VeADIR since the ICO closed? Honestly, the inability for many to understand the business model and the amount of organized and financed FUD attacks has surprised me the most. I knew it was going to come. I just didn't know it was going to come in such a fashion. People are actually creating false reports and putting an advertising budget behind them to push absolute nonsense about a fintech startup. So it's very interesting. And the nonsense that's being espoused is allegedly believed by many, such as calling Veritaseum vaporware. A simple search, everybody could go through. As a matter of fact, In the comments, I'll post a link to our beta 14, which is the 14th beta of the last, 2 or 3 months. We're moving very quickly. That beta is going to be the last till next year, till January, because it's going to be a whopper. That beta was just a rental facility, okay, and a preview of the actual VeADIR portfolio. The next one will be the whole shebang. How that Jamaica, or is that how that Jamaica project, or is that what you're speaking on? I discussed Jamaica already. Do you see various providing transparency in other markets such as precious metals? Absolutely. You know, it's on a blockchain. It can provide a lot of transparency. Of course, the users of some of these markets don't want transparency. When we build custom financial machines for a particular segment, we'll see what the people want or what the customers want. Any potential for analytics to be derived from the value exchange, Veritaseum proposes? Absolutely. We just had a big demo from the developers today, and we log a lot of information, which is very useful. What we're going to do with it is this is another story, but we have it, and we will do a lot. When do you publish a dash report? You know, that dash report has been done for a while. It's so old that we should update it, and I should have published it. It's a backlog. I'm going to try and get the dash report out week after next. I also have video from the Dash CEO. I did tell everybody when I took the video and first started doing the report, I was very, very, very satisfied with Dash's at least development team and the CEO. They're grown-ups, and they're grown-ups in a space where not everybody's a grown-up. Strong business model, good technology. Take a look at the performance of Dash since I made that implicit recommendation. More than worth it. Have you looked at Salt lending token? I have not, but I've heard of them. Okay. Beta is very smooth, Reggie. Thank you very much, Gerald Gaines. I agree, but I'm a little biased, right? Cliff High still thinks we're going to be needed when the government breaks down. Do you have anything to comment on that? They will need you to help with the financial systems. Well, I'm going to let Cliff High's opinion stand on its own. I believe there is a legitimate use for the Veritaseum system in a time of disconnect and disjointed markets. I can say that much. VeADIR, of course, is new and unproven, but it's based upon a precept and a concept that is not only anti-fragile, but would thrive in an environment that will roil a traditional central bank-driven system. Is VeADIR going to get involved with any charities? Yes, next month, actually. What we will be doing is I will be selecting certain individuals or corporations, and we will fund the VeADIR with XYZ assets, and any profits that come from that research, that actualized research in the VeADIR, will go to the charity of the choice of the individuals that we are. I'm sorry, got a text. Any profits from that research, from that actualized research, will go to the charities of the choice of the individuals that we select. What individuals these are? What individuals am I talking about? We're looking for people who are influential, high profile, and can help further the mantra of peer-to-peer capital markets. And I like to get involved with charities directly as well, but that's a longer story for another time. Why do you think that platform you're building with 3 employees is already worth more than $1 billion? Shouldn't you be telling people the value is way too high? Well, Demujin, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know, the 3 employees, you're wrong. The $1 billion, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you need to, A, brush up on the facts of what Veritaseum is and who's working with us. And you need to go through maybe a primer and evaluation, okay? Paid FUD equals wasting their money. They will look back and wish they put their money in VeADIR. There you go, Bella. Actually, no comment. But I like where your head's at. Is there a best way for a small investment to be invested into V? Well, again, in terms of investing, you know, Veritaseum is a utility token, right? We are selling products and services, okay? the prepaid fees for entry into our financial machines, such as the VeADIR, and for our analysis. Okay, Veri is not an investment. Okay, we are not selling it as an investment. We're not marketing it as an investment. As we move forward and the products come to fruition and actualization, products were available instantaneously from the initial token offering in terms of research. We're not presenting it as an investment. I've said it ad nauseum from the very beginning. I understand people make mistakes. We have documents, purchase product agreements, terms and conditions, more videos written. I'm going to say it again and again, okay? Veri is not an investment. Listen up. To do price prediction for Veri, can't and won't do those. Junior, I love you. Thank you for compliments. I appreciate all that. But I want to get to the actual questions, so please pardon me if I skip past the actual comments. What do you think of Bitcoin SegWit's rebranding from medium of exchange to a store of value, digital gold? I never really felt the digital gold thing has nothing to do with Bitcoin. You know, those are marketing names and getting people to, pay attention to the platform, or basically just a misunderstanding. I believe Bitcoin is a new age commodity. It's trying to force it into a legacy asset class or a legacy set of characteristics. Number one, limits the ability to understand Bitcoin at the very minimum, and is misinformation, if not disinformation, at worst. What is the elevator pitch of the Veritaseum business model? Peer-to-peer capital markets, where we reduce friction and increase transparency, at the same time reducing counterparty and credit risk to allow two or more entities to do business and exchange value on a contingent basis directly without a middleman, a rent seeker, a gatekeeper, or authoritarian third party. What do you think about BitConnect? I don't know much about BitConnect. Been too busy to look at it. Can you do a report on IOTA? A lot of people like the project. If enough people ask me for it and put Veri up for it, we'll do it. Things work by Veri, so you can actually order a research report simply by forwarding Veri. A price would be somewhere around 10 to 12 Veri. Research report, which should be available roughly 3 weeks after the proffering, depending on our backload. And that's 10 to 12 Veri at today's prices. What is the next and most exciting milestone you'd like to see when Veritaseum goes live? When Veritaseum goes live, I'd like to see a major hedge fund, use it to do something creative that they couldn't do through their prime broker, such as Morgan Stanley, number one. Number two, I'd like to see a sovereign nation entity or a sovereign wealth fund take Veri and use it to do something that they couldn't do through their local banking arrangement, local banking partner. For instance, imagine if the country of Jamaica used Veritaseum to build a monorail to connect downtown Kingston at the waterfront to Montego Bay without using a single banker, at rates that are, at costs, shall I say, that are close to 50% cheaper than what they've had before, with full transparency on a highly customized basis. Booyah. Okay? Where do you think crypto market going in 2018? I'd say yep, but the media is back to giving a lot of attention to Bitcoin, and eventually crypto market, once they learn that Bitcoin is actually crypto market 1.0, and then many more fascinating projects, interesting projects out. Of course, when you put a lot of media attention on something, you put the more ignorant money following the smarter money. The media attention causes a big rise. When people follow in, causes a big fall, then the reset. If the underlying markets and economics are worthwhile, will cause a consequent rise again. But understand the boom bust cycle. If you read Boom Bust blog, you know exactly how it works. Do you think Lightning Network and atomic swaps with SegWit coins will get companies like Amazon adopt? It very well may. We shall see. Can you give us any information about the patents on P2P? In the process of prosecuting them. So all I can say. There's there's back and forth going with the various patent agencies or patent departments. We filed in many jurisdictions, at least 5. So, it's a time will tell no matter what work. Thus far, I don't see anything overtly negative, and it's a time issue. Can you reveal if Cliff High has had any involvement in Veritaseum? Not to my knowledge, and I run Veritaseum, so you could say no. I see hedge funds using it greatly for leveraging risks. I do as well. Can you talk about what Jamaica Exchange will be able to do with Veri use case? I can. If you download the Veritaseum description of products and services, you get to see a lot of what Veritaseum is, the business model, what we had in mind. Okay, it's available on the Veritaseum.com website. Go to it, the blog section. It's either one of the most recent posts. Hey Reggie, can you fly too, walk on water? No, not yet, but I'm a quick learner. Reggie Middleton, what do you think the short-time risks you face are? Ambiguous and potentially dangerous, ambiguous regulatory issues, which are potentially dangerous. The big boys waking up to the threat that Veritaseum could potentially be before we are able to gain traction is a risk. Of course, there are ways to mitigate that. And business execution, like any other startup. People are asking me about BitConnect. I don't know anything about BitConnect, so, know nothing about it. Info has answered this 100 times. 51 million tokens were offered. Oh, yeah, the float, yeah. The issues on the float and how many tokens are outstanding, etc., has been answered a lot. Okay, quick rundown. I offered up to offer up to half of the tokens, that were created for sale. Most of them weren't sold. They went back in inventory. The tokens are our product. We sell the tokens. They are our product. The tokens are not securities, they're not stocks, they're not bonds. They're all what we sell. Okay? We sell them in the form of prepaid fees for our products and services. The more tokens we sell, the better off we're doing. Okay? Will futures propel BTC upwards or make it more volatile, or both? It should make it more volatile in the beginning, and then it should ease out in the volatility, because futures allow you to take bi-directional positions on Bitcoin. You could go long and short, and you could do it on a leverage basis. Okay, what the futures will do is it will allow. What Bitcoin futures will do is it will allow many more entities to purchase Bitcoin. Right now, you have. Let me give you an example. This is the current supply of available Bitcoin, not Bitcoin that is minted or mined, but the amount that is available that people are willing to part with at XYZ nominal price. 1 bucket, okay? You will have 15 buckets of demand, okay, pouring into this 1 bucket of supply. What happens when you have 15 equal-sized buckets of demand pouring into this 1 bucket of supply? Significant overflow. That significant overflow I see as a material supply-demand imbalance, and that should shoot the price of Bitcoin up until it finds equilibrium. From that point, it should steady off, and then market dynamics and fundamentals, take charge. We shall see. I'm not good at predicting the future, though, because the batteries in my crystal ball died this morning. Can you tell us about your meeting with Obama? Not the details, as well as a very private meeting, and he's a very public guy. But I want to talk to him about how I see the world and how I see new technologies and the more adventurous and creative entrepreneurial people who deal in these new technologies, how they could change things. I'm actually considering using the Veritaseum system and platform to do a voter registration, distributed voter registration application. Strongly considering it. We'll see if we do it, if the resources are there. The Bitcoin futures are not redeemable in the actual BTC, only fiat. Um, um, the only way they could do it. To have Bitcoin futures settle in be forced to deliver actual BTC would be a nightmare for the CME. Think about the custodial, the security, the delivering, the accounting. That's hard. So much easier to make it deliverable in actual cash. So Bitcoin futures settle in cash, okay, based off of an index. That means you don't have the custodial and the transfer and the security issues that you have with Bitcoin. Excuse me. But that brings upon a significant amount of other problems. Selling it in cash based upon an index means you have the potential manipulation of that index, the gaming of that index. Think about LIBOR and the banks. And you also have geopolitics coming. They're not in my backyard scenario, which, is quite evident when regulators, not just U.S. regulators, but all regulators come into play. Regulators have to approve this. If you look at the exchanges that whose price inputs go or pricing goes into the BTC index that the futures are based upon, it is Gemini and it is GDAX, which is Coinbase, etc. Basically, well-financed, venture-based, U.S.-only exchanges. If you're going to use venture-based or U.S.-only exchanges, that's good, but it doesn't reflect the market. The largest, deepest, and most liquid exchange does not even exist, or doesn't even contribute to the index. So, Bitfinex, which trades more BTC than all the exchanges that go into the index that feeds the future price, it's not included. This means you have a significant arbitrage opportunity. Using the VeADIR, you can buy up one as soon as it diverges from the other, or vice versa. This arbitrage opportunity shouldn't be in existence upon the launch of the futures, but it is. And the reason is not because necessarily they were looking to build the best product, but they were looking to satisfy forces that are not necessarily market-based. Enough to say that, I definitely do not want to, get on a regulator's bad side. So if I said something wrong, excuse me, I'm sorry. Reggie Middleton, do you think the established companies would try and use regulatory capture to stop crypto? Yeah, most likely. If history is any indication of the future, that would be astounding, absolute yes, but you never know. It might be different this time. Can I wink? Yeah. It will be less about the value of VeADIR and more about if you have it to use his systems. Yes, I've always been saying this for some time. I believe the utility value of VeADIR will greatly outstrip any speculative inclinations one may have. This is a brand new world. This stuff is fantastic. I am truly excited about what we built. Okay, this was a brainchild. My team built it. I can take credit for this no more than the president could take credit for how the country runs. We have 400 or 500 million people in this country. One man can't run it. Same thing with Team Veritaseum. But I am very proud of the fact that this idea sprang from, my mental loins, and look to see how the team developed it and how it's real. This is truly, truly a game changer. As disruptive a product and a service in any industry that I've ever seen in my life, sans potentially the internet and the World Wide Web. And I think we might even have them beat. We shall see. Hi Reggie, any plans to get very listed to trade tokens on exchanges other than EtherDelta? I'm not dealing with exchanges. It's now a business model. It'd be good if the exchanges did help serve as a retail outlet for Veritaseum. But for whatever reason, we made multiple requests. They don't seem to want to do it. More power to them. It's a business decision on their own. They know their business potentially better than I do. Maybe there's a reason for it. Okay? Do you have any institutional investors lined up to buy any of the VeADIR you have locked up? I can't comment on that right now, but institutional investors would make very, very good customers for Veritaseum financial products, okay? Financial machines. And take that as it may. But one of the big banks flipped to the good side when they realized the old system is crumbling. Well, either they will or they crumble with the old system. That's not really a choice they have. Will futures propel BTC? We discussed that. Okay, looks like I might need some new questions. What new questions do we have, fellas? And you're the one who's going to do it. You're the one, Reggie. Thank you. How can BTC Futures control the price of BTC unless they buy hundreds of thousands of coins and bully the market? Yeah, see, that's the issue. You know, BTC Futures can't control the price of BTC unless you have an inordinate amount of capital going to the BTC Futures. But the issue is, as long as they settle, right, as long as they settle in cash and based upon an index, and that index diverges significantly from the underlying spot, from the actual BTC, let's suppose BTC Futures are used to drive down the price of Bitcoin, but the index goes down to, say, $6,000 a coin. Okay, but you go buy Bitcoin at $10,000 a coin. Do you see a significant arbitrage opportunity there? Or vice versa? Okay, read up on how to use a VeADIR. That's all I have to tell you. Are there any other cryptos you see value in? Take your Veri, right? Send them in, purchase our reports. You have an answer there. Is Veri forkable, and how are there going to be any upgrades of the product? No, it's not forkable. Veri is a product of ours, and we will upgrade it as we deem fit or as the actual machines deem fit. Some of the machines are actually autonomous, but they can request upgrades on their own. We're working on that. Think of Terminator type AI thing, Skynet, without the bad part. How we distribute the remaining Veri tokens to incentivize adoption? Answered that many times. Okay, Veri tokens are not distributed, they're sold, they're our product. We incentivize adoption simply by selling them to entities and individuals who we feel will make the best use of it. For businesses pay market price or ICO price, we give away some free. Many questions. The businesses will be paid a price that are negotiated, which is most likely market price unless they make a deal that we can't refuse, such as we will build an exchange that will compete directly and overcome the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, and if you give us XYZ Veri, and they can guarantee it. Well, that's a deal that I'll have to work with and take into consideration. Okay, rare business. What are my top 5 cryptos? Get your Veri together, buy some research reports, brother. Because the big players come in and buy the physical and make leverage bets on the side while they dump, you're the one who's going to do it. Thank you. Okay, one more time, I see that 236 people online, 166 likes. Everybody, take that like button, pound it, right? Take that share button, punch it. Okay, let's get more people in here. I am going to have to get back to my work soon, but I'm going to try and put 10 more minutes in. Okay, in the meantime, let's have more questions. Reggie Middleton, most characteristic. Thank you very much. You previously said Bitfinex is the most liquid exchange. Have you researched Tether and whether it is a fraud? I was going, the Bitfinex is not a result, my Bitfinex comment is not a result of any analysis I did on Bitfinex. It's I just simply took a look at the amount of Bitcoin transactions that went through Bitfinex according to CoinMarketCap, okay? I have not looked into Tether from an analytical perspective. You know, I took a glance, cursory look. I know the individual that was responsible for putting it together. I have an opinion of it, but not that I'm going to share publicly, so pardon me. Very cash treat, you do. Yes, Tether needs to be due. What is the next deal that you have not talked about yet? What can you say to us to give us hope? Well, again, we're a private company talking to other private companies and other public companies, some of which are relatively notable. In a private discussion or conversation, it has to stay private. If I make it public, it defeats the purpose of having a private conversation. My concern is, and not trying to be a smart ass, I do not want to piss off anybody or burn any relationship, especially relationships that took a lot of time, money, effort, and charismatic cajoling to develop. Okay? Once something comes out of it, and that something is available to me public without angering any sides, I'll gladly make it public. I'll do a YouTube video, I'll do a Q&A, I will wax lyrical about it. Trust me, I have every motivation in the world to give you as much news as possible. I still run a business though, okay? And it is bad business to burn your business partners, or to be not have a ethics filter on and to say things that you really should not be saying in public. I think I've discussed a lot. TMX Group is exploring blockchain, and BOC has recently released a white paper on crypto. Is the second mystery exchange that you are in talks with the Western Hemisphere? Nice try, buddy. When something comes of it, I'll announce it. As a matter of fact, I might even go to that particular exchange and announce it. They're very cool people. Any thoughts on branding and design interface? Well, the software design interface I love, so I don't think we're changing that. We're developing it, and it's another change coming, but I love that. Branding, we will work on that when the time comes. I don't want to focus too much on branding before we have the product ready. When we go through branding, and I'm looking for people to help with that, so a full-time employee if possible, for website redesign, branding, etc. That's something that I'd like to bring in this first quarter coming up, beginning in the first quarter. So if you have anybody who will crack shop, best of their field, particularly in the New York metro area, have them contact me, Reggie at Veritaseum.com. I'm looking to bring people on board. I watched you years ago when you said sell Apple and buy Google. You remember? Yes, I do remember very well. You're on point. Props. Thank you very much. That was Kim Mining. Do you see utility token companies or ICOs keeping up with the value of Ethereum and Bitcoin? Well, it really depends on the value of the utility company. Just that simple. They can outstrip the value of the underlying platform. Think of those underlying platforms as utilities, okay? And then you think of a utility company, a company that has utility value, as the consumers of the utilities. Now, does a company that consumes a utility become worth more than a utility? Highly dependent on the individual basis of the company itself and the value of the utility. You could have a hot dog stand, and that hot dog stand uses electricity from a wire. That doesn't make the hot dog stand more valuable than Con Edison, which supplies electricity here. Also, you have companies such as Google, which also consume electricity, and they're significantly more valuable than Con Edison, which is a utility here in New York. Hopefully you understand. What is the minimum amount of value needed to be useful as utility? It really depends on your imagination, your creativity, and the task at hand. Do you think BTC is potentially driven by FOMO and that it will eventually be exceeded market cap by a better alternative? Possible, but you have to understand, in terms of valuation, and value, economic value, you have the utility value of Bitcoin, okay, which has significant utility value at launch. But I think there's several projects that outstrip Bitcoin in utility value. But you also have network effect, the economic network value, where Bitcoin reigns supreme, okay? And the more media attention it gets, the more money that gets dumped in, the greater that network value becomes, and the more users. Now, the same is true with these other tokens as well, such as Dash, Monero, Ethereum. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Ethereum now has more transactions than Bitcoin, quite possibly because of the ICO business model that's built on top of it. No doubt there will be at least 1 to 2K in summer. Which token are you going to review next after Populous? Well, I have a whole bunch sitting on the hard drive. So first, let's get all of the research. I have at least 3 or 4 research reports I have to distribute. When I get those out, then we'll look for others, or we'll take contributions from, or we'll take direction from our customers. Just send in a very. You should announce on the YouTube. That would be great for us fans. I will announce everything there is to be announced on YouTube. When I have something announced. What do you think about Omisigo? We actually did a small Omisigo research report and needs some polish, so I haven't released it yet. I think, or it might have been just a model. Let me take a look, but that should be out. Okay. Is Canada on my radar? Now you've met with Obama and your plans to get a selfie with Justin Trudeau and expand in the Canadian markets. Yes, we are looking at Canada. I don't know about selfies with Trudeau, but we are looking at Canada. Too many CEOs talk over their mouths and get burned. Okay. Okay. And we have somebody else discussing vaporware again. Interesting. If borrowers default on loans, will the Veritas be returned to the lender or only the collateral? Well, if someone defaults on a loan and doesn't return the Veritas, you can't return the Veritas to the owner. That's what the collateral is for. You are able to adjust the parameters of your smart contract. So if you feel that a significant risk of losing the Veritas, you simply ramp up the amount of collateral that you're requesting. You know, you could request 5F for every VeADIR if you want. So it's all contingent upon what you put in the contract. It's also contingent upon the other side accepting the terms of your deal. Reggie, will the Veritaseum platform be trading cryptos in the future? It will give exposure to other cryptos very soon. I told you, hopefully by next month, within 30 days, on a beta basis. One aspect of the beta is we are limiting access to it. So, you cannot put in 5 million tokens into the beta, because if something were to go wrong, you potentially lose your 5 million tokens. The purpose of a beta is to beta test. So we will limit the amount of assets that can be put in. We will run our own security audit. We will have an outside security audit, and we'll do it the natural way by throwing it into the wild and let you guys bang on it and see if it scales well, if it's tight, secure, and everything else. And you'll also hopefully give us a lot of feedback on usability issues, UX, UI. 5 people from Light Crypto here. Oh, good for them. Anybody who really wants us to do a report on PayPal, you vote with your VeADIR, okay? So you can actually purchase a report, and I explained that earlier, with VeADIR. That works. Our backlog is not significant now. It's there, but it's not extensive. To explain how the analyst works, we have 2 different camps of analytics. One is institutional, usually for informational purposes for inside the company, or to illustrate something for a potential institutional client, like a sovereign nation or a hedge fund, okay, or a company or corporation. The other is for tokens and ICOs, such as PayPal and Populous, etc. Okay, very 2 different skill sets, very 2 different approaches, but both necessary for this company. So if you are very interested in PayPal, if you could get together, I forgot the amount, get your 10 VeADIR, etc. Put 10 VeADIR in and purchase a report. It's not a lot of, at all, considering the fact that it would be a customer bespoke report, okay? Do you believe the crypto market is transferring to be the new economic system in the future? I don't know about an economic system. It's simply a new technology, very much how the internet came into play. Is Veritaseum targeting countries like Zimbabwe, where the need for Bitcoin becomes overwhelming due to distrust? Yes, we are. Scott Smith, I am coming to New York in 1 week. May I visit your office? If I'm available, you can. I'm a little busy, but if I'm available, feel free to come by. Okay? Email, make an appointment, and look forward to seeing anybody who's interested in Veritaseum. Will you be providing a bundling ability with other small VeADIR holders to accommodate large demand users? Will there be demand for the token when you have so many to sell to clients yourself? I believe there will be, and technically, we will be able to do the bundling. From a regulatory perspective, we'll see if that passes muster. And we cover many jurisdictions all over the world. So, we have to take a look at it from that perspective. But from a technology perspective, we could definitely do that. I came in late to the video. Did I discuss Jamaica updates? Yes, I did. Just rewind the video. Wait, this scam is still going on. Very good for you, Spicy Sauce, my anonymous friend, and that's exactly what I meant. Those comments usually come from people who want to hide behind null identity. Shalom, I believe in you. All this hard work for all these years is about to pay off in a big way. I definitely do hope so, my friend. Thank you, Shalom. It has been many years. We've been working on this since 2013, but it's looking fantastic. Ready to repurchase the research reports? Right now they're done by hand. Simply email Messiah, M-A-S-I-A-H, at Veritaseum.com. CC me, Reggie at Veritaseum.com. Request a report. We'll give you a link to send you very in. You get the report. 30 days from Dean H. Wow, looking forward to using the platform. I'm looking forward to having you using it. What happens to people's crypto investments when they die? Well, hopefully you have your bills and papers in place in estate planning. We're actually looking at doing estate planning on a very platform as well. One of many projects sometime in the future. Definitely can't take care of that now. Would that be a problem when people keep their info so private that no one knows when they have these investments? Well, that happens now with cash, gold, and other physical assets that they bury in their backyard. Check out your auto paint on Sector. It was painted upside down. Apart from chain coins, do you see quality utility tokens as winners? I do see the quality utility tokens as winners if the team can execute. Execution is the key. Okay, ideas are cool, right? Technology is cool, but I think there's a much too high weighting in developers and software engineering in this space. Not enough actual business people, not enough actual true financial guys, marketing, etc. You need to have a balance, a diversity, okay? And those entities that have that balance of diversity with the drive and a good product, you know, numbers being told, you know, on balance, on average, should succeed. You know, the crypto world is just like any other industry. You know, the driven, most connected, most capable people win. Okay, not the best developers, not the best engineers, not necessarily the best ideas. Oh, by the way, one more time, 267 users online. I want 267 people to hit the like button right now. I'd like 269 people to hit the share button right now. And any of you people who are not subscribing to this YouTube channel are not notified when I come on live, and I'm going to start doing it very often again. So I want all 270 people to hit the subscribe button right now. Now, I forget to say that because I'm not really a YouTuber. You know, I'm a fintech executive. But now that it struck me, I'd like everybody who's not subscribed to hit the subscribe button. How's the discussion going with all the other sovereign nations? Some of the nations are going well, some are going a little too slow. They're all going too slow since we haven't struck a deal yet, but some are coming along quite well. Okay, I'm going to take another 5 questions, and then I'm going to retire and get back to work. There's an ICO for crypto transfers upon death. Well, that's interesting. Okay, any other questions that haven't been asked? The reason you get so many requests about PayPal is because a lot of us Canadians up in Vancouver own both VeADIR and PayPal. Okay, it makes sense. Is PayPal a Canadian company? And if you want, like I said, if you want analysis, you know, send a VeADIR and make the request. VeADIR is a gateway into crypto without using crypto. Brilliant, well thank you. Talk about PPP and PPT, but what about HBN? They're on the desk. Do me a favor, guys, don't ask, you know, in the comments about my opinions on tokens or token companies. If you're really interested, you know, get your VeADIR together and make the request. Okay, once we get into the backlog is not long on ICO valuations. Once that backlog starts to build, the price for the request will go up, supply and demand. Okay. Would it be possible, this is from Buckley Jr., would it be possible to set up a community on your website for us to get together and join up on a crypto report? I think that might be possible. I haven't put that on the website yet because the website, is going to be redone, number one. But also number two, the upkeep with, the hacking and FUD and all that. There are communities where you can do this right now. You can use our Slack channel. Veritaseum, I think it's slack.veritaseum.com. You can go to the bitcoin.com Veritaseum chat, and we're also on Telegram, Veritaseum as well. If there's enough demand, because my community is very, very important. Our community is important to us. If there's enough demand, we'll put the community directly on the website as well. But there are a variety of reasons that I prefer not to do that, because in terms of responsibility and liabilities. But there's at least 3 third-party communities. Some of them are relatively rich, 600, 700, 800 members. I didn't get a notification at the start of your live update. I don't know why not. Hit subscribe just in case you're not subscribed, and that should solve the problem. Reggie, not sure if you mentioned, but is UK on my radar? Not as of yet. Don't have a connection directly to the UK government or UK companies. In 2014, I did go out and pitch a bunch of high net worth guys in the UK. I think that was before its time. They looked at me like I was a Martian, but now I think they get the hint. Maybe it's time to go back out there. So if anybody has a UK connection for me, let me know, and I'll come out and I'll do the song and dance. Can VeADIR be of use to farmers in third world countries? Yes, they can. We're talking to 2 third world countries where we are creating ability for farmers to potentially monetize their future crops using financial machines. I can respect that. Small altcoins, what problems are... Okay, so I'm going through a lot of these questions are repetitive, the stuff that we've discussed already. And I have to get work done. If you want Veritaseum to come out and launch in beta in July, if you want the VeADIR to come out and launch in beta in July, you have to get to work. What I will do is I will update the populist report. Anybody's looking to it. The new populist report will be 1.25 VeADIR, by the way. 1.25. I might have said 1.5 earlier. I'm sorry. We'll make it 1.25 VeADIR. Okay. Anybody who purchased it before, for 1 VeADIR, you can either charge the 0.25 extra VeADIR, which we should do to be fair. Send it to you. Okay. Contact Messiah, MASIAH at Veritaseum.com for the reports. Let's get it done. Okay. It's being done by hand, so you're not getting instantaneous responses to it. Keep that in mind. It's Friday, the weekend's coming up, and the holidays, but we get to you as soon as possible, humanly possible. Okay, it's good. We had up to almost 300 people online. I appreciate it. Again, in closing, everybody hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. Okay, I'm going to try and do this more often, even on the weekends. Using a cell phone, I can actually just do this on the fly, which I've been doing in. That's how I've been doing most of these. This time I'm set up in the office, okay? Feedback, how was the volume? How was the audio? Am I coming out clear? Let me go to the bottoms. So how is the audio? Is it coming out clear and loud, or is there a significant amount of background noise? Guess I'll find out when I look at the video myself. Okay, au revoir, sayonara, peace, goodbye, hado. I love the community. Good job, y'all.